everyone, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Boardroom, where we chat with industry leaders about their journeys and strategies behind their success. In today's episode, we have Vasu, who's a seasoned expert in the FMCG sector. Vasu has over 35 years of experience in companies such as Glaxo, Danone, and Wrigley. In his recent stint as the Associate Director Sales Development at Perfetti, he leveraged BI for sales operations, automation, and strategies. Hi Vasu, thank you so much for joining us again today. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, same here, Radhika.
All right, let's start with GT's adaptability. Right, we've seen a lot of disruptions like QuickCom. And GT has always been, resilient. So how do you see, GT and QuickCom coexisting? And how do you think that GT can thrive, especially in a market like urban areas?
I think you use a very right word, resilient. Somebody has to quickly travel back maybe few decades to understand how the distribution itself has evolved in India, right? From the time of import, maybe pre-independence, and then when your manufacturing operation started in India post-independence and early days, there used to be national distributor. Can somebody believe that companies like selling Horlicks used to have a regional distributor? The entire zone of South would probably have had one distributor, who were Parry and Company, so on and so forth. So the distribution of general trade kept on evolving as time went by, like any sphere of business. They have been evolving. Even lately, a couple of decades ago, when modern trade proliferation was expected to rule, GT was prepared because the government had its own policy of level playing field, and then you had international players and so on and so forth. Even within GT, you have wholesale, you have retail. There has always been a constant, discussion on that, or it's a good, nice topic to whether they can coexist. So let us not forget some of the fundamental facts that most of the FMCG companies in India have more than, I would say, 75-80% of the sales still coming only from GT. It's a large number of almost 11 million retailers in this country. Population is growing, outlets are growing. If somebody has to go by the AC Nielsen data, outlets are growing, and somebody has to go by the population data, it's growing, which means there is space for GT. Yes, QuickCom has come. Technology has helped to speed up the reach of delivery to the consumer. No doubt about it. It's largely urban. Will it have impact on semi-urban and rural? May or may not have, but let's also be clear that there are reasons why both will coexist. There can be QuickCom or a modern trade pack specific, I can do it. Say for example, basket value is very, very important for a modern trade or for a QuickCom. So I can have a set of products launched there. But can I ever have a 1 rupee candy or a bubblegum or a lollipop sold from a e-com, a QuickCom? I really don't know. As I said, therefore, can everyone reach their requirement only through QuickCom? May not be. We talk about any metro. You take about NCR. If there are 100,000 stores in NCR, what could be the role of a GT and QuickCom? Not all can be serviced by an e-com, QuickCom, whatever we say. So therefore, there is always a reason why coexistence is continuing and will continue. As I said, a couple of decades ago, it was about modern trade coming to India, be it the Carrefours of this world or the Walmart, and currently what you see as Amazons and Flipkarts of the world. I strongly believe that coexistence would continue to be there. But for that, why would the outlets grow? But for that, why would the business be growing in both urban and rural? So I see it coexistence. Yeah, there are certain advantages. Convenience is there.
Correct.
We definitely pay for convenience. There's a convenience fee we have to pay. Maybe people don't mind that. A typical working couple, I wouldn't mind, etc., etc. So there is an element of convenience. Last minute requirement, somebody delivers it, but you still pay for it. Whereas when you walk up to a store and probably buy it, you really don't have to possibly pay. Not on all occasions, but a large number of occasions. But just to summarize, I would say both will exist and you will see it.
Right, that's true, right? Because when it's convenience, I think that's the biggest driver for quick com,
Ah.
right? And that's also a shift in modern trade and in GT, because they are also trying to bring that convenience to the consumers.
Right. I agree. You will see that, DMart by far one of the best discounters continue to do well despite the presence of QCOM.
True.
Yeah.
Now, today people are willing to pay a premium for convenience, right? But then they become a little price sensitive for products. So how should companies balance this contrast when they are planning product assortment and pricing strategies?
See, definitely in the sphere of at least FMCG, when I speak, there is a price point architecture that is followed by all the large companies. What pricing you want to have it in GT? What kind of pricing would you want to have it in modern trade or e-com? Same way your packaging, because it all finally boils down to the shopper insights. When I go as a shopper to a modern trade, or when I browse it on any of the websites, versus when I am in a store, as a shopper, my behavioral exhibits are very different. Say supposing I am a shopper in a typical Kirana store and it's just a pantry fill for the mid-month. I may not see, I just go there, buy it and go. But if I am buying it for the first time in a month, I am probably ending up in a modern trade store where the experience of shopping is more important. But it's okay, all these are fine. I know I don't have to do really pantry loading much. I just go to a QCOM platform and then place it. So therefore it is a question of convenience. It's a question of what you need. So therefore, the price point architecture that we talked about, pricing structure, can definitely be different even in, let's say, your general trade. Based on the shopper insight, my pack strategy can be different, whether I want to upsell in a store for which certain discounts can be given, or when I want to sell large number of flavors in a store, or I'm trying to take market share, as in share from that particular store, then what kind of strategy would I have? In this case, I would not say strategy. What kind of, let's say, a tactical approach I would have? For example, if my approach for the month is to take, my large pack sold in a store so that I sell more quantity in one go, but I will definitely then give a lot of inputs to it. So I choose those type of stores and give it, which is the same in a discounter model, or which is the same in a quick com. So therefore, it helps, and the companies definitely would be able to adapt to this price point architecture, having shopper insight. Based on these, my inputs can be designed to ensure that each of my channels' requirements are taken care of.
All right, and then there was this one point that you mentioned about, the pantry size. And that's one fascinating trend that we are seeing, right? The pantry size is shrinking. People are, buying often. So how do you think companies should plan their inventory in this case?
Companies planning inventory also must be kept in mind the consumer's regular purchase of what size it is. If I am selling an atta or a suji or a rice, my regular purchase is 5 kg versus whether it is 1 kg. So the companies would typically understand that the pantry loading that you talked about is also because today, I can give you, it is just not for the consumer. The recent one being Unilever, couple of years ago, tried this program, what they called it as Samadhan in Chennai. The distributors were carrying absolutely no inventory. The field force, the distributor field force would go to the market, take the order, cut off at 3 o'clock. All orders would be synchronized real time, but 3 is the cutoff time. Then from 5:30 in the evening, pick list would start happening, and by midnight, let's say, the orders are picked already and packed. Next morning, it will directly go to the store, thus ensuring that the inventory carried by distributors were practically zero. I'm answering this to your question of pantry loading. Therefore, enough of stocks required to a retailer to sell it in 3 days or 6 days, where the kind of program that Unilever did it in Chennai, and now they are going to take it to Mumbai and thereafter to NCR. Companies like Britannia have premium biscuits are sold by one salesperson, so that your loading in a store has to be reasonably, more versus, let's say, mass sale like a Mari. Similarly, Mondelez would have premium sales outlets covered once in 3 days, so on and so forth. What I'm trying to say is, as a consumer, when you are pantry loading, you have started reducing. Either it is because of QCOM, or within the family, the food habits are different. What you consume necessarily is not the same for every meal, that I will have a roti or a rice and whatnot. Even that has changed. Given that, the companies have also started moving to different types of model of distribution, to the extent that even Unilever is keeping it almost at zero inventory at the distributor. So it gives win-win to everyone. The distributors need not carry higher inventory. Companies can definitely plan their inventory much better. Consumer get fresh stocks. Fresh stocks means the freshness of consuming a recently made product. So it's all win-win all about. So it's not because it is quick com, therefore pantry loading. Yes, it is convenience, but again I keep saying, at least for now, it's largely urban centric, especially when it comes to consumer products. Not comparing it with other category of products, but in FMCG it is more to do with convenience. But at the same time, as I said, you have more number of retailers coming, therefore there is a place for both. Pantry loading has not reduced just because it is quick com is available. It's also because of reasons like companies are ensuring that the freshness of stocks are maintained, inventories are ideally managed. It helps in an overall approach of a 360-degree approach. When you take, it helps everyone. As I said, it helps the channel partners to practically have minimal inventory, and therefore their deliveries and whatnot are all well managed, cost efficient. For company, the same logic, that there is this example of levers I'm giving is it's as good as real time. They are trying something in Bombay, just started doing that. So all these are so therefore it is a win-win for everyone.
And what about, because of this behavior, what's the shift in the GT market itself, in the retailers, their buying patterns? Has there been any shift on that front?
I may not say any shift, but it's a lot more informed decision by them also. Because one, the retailers would know the kind of products that typically sells at what frequency. These tools have really helped. For example, the distributors are able to understand what the inventories were earlier, what is it now, when your periodicity of visit is more standardized, how much of inventory do I really need to maintain, etc. Because that has helped, data has helped in all this. Because somebody goes there every week or every 3 days or every fortnight, somebody goes, and what kind of stocking were there before and what kind of stocking is there. So what is I think it has only helped in very many ways, because this structured approach, in the absence of technology, therefore the data were not widely available to everyone. Now it is available. So that could be a reason why the pantry loading that you talked about, the whole question is around that, is less. It's not because of, as I said, just because of quick commerce. Reasons such as this, that your overall business model, thanks to technology, is changing. Because I'm able to do as good as no inventory at the distributor level. I'm sure 20 years ago somebody would not have thought about it, but today it is possible.
True, and I think even the shopper insights is helping companies in the product assortments in these GT markets too, like you rightly mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when it comes to brand launches, product launches, how can a brand strategically use modern trade and quick commerce to launch products?
Again, it depends what kind of packaging you want, what kind of price point you want to keep it. Say, for example, if my memory goes right, Coke, the black, launched only in, I think, Reliance first. It was first launched only in all Reliance stores. Today you can have modern trade specific packs. Most of the, candies and gums of sold by Wrigley Mars and Perfetti is what is sold in, the GT is different, because they're all 1 rupee or a 2 rupee or a 5 rupee product, versus what is sold in modern trade. Because modern trade shopper behavior is very different. The store themselves would want to have certain basket value. Therefore, your packaging is completely different for them versus when it comes to GT. Same is the case with e-com. There has to be basket value for them. There has to be some merit in selling large quantity. Whereas you can't do it in GT because you sell it in large number of stores, pan-India. In rural, for example, I can't have the same price what I charge, let's say in a Colaba or a Poyes Garden of Chennai, to say the same that I would charge in a rural market may not be right. So therefore, the shopper insight based decision making for my pricing, packaging and size and whatnot are very very insightful because data are available, and that helps company to have their launches, a new product launch well thought through by channel. Even in channel, whether it is GT or MT or e-com, even in GT, whether it is urban, whether it is top urban, top stores, can I restrict all my launches to just to a top store only? I don't have to sell it in everywhere just because I am in GT. All these are possible. That's because today, thanks to data integration, availability, real-time data available, lot more insights based decision making. How it helps is what the point is.
All right. And any lessons that GT can learn from modern trade and from quick commerce in terms of agility and customer engagement?
I mean, it's complementing each other in the first place. Very specific learning. Well, I'm not able to really give anything that can come out immediately. But otherwise, I would say that believe in that coexistence is always there. It's not just because there is a 26th January or just because there is an Independence Day celebration, there is a celebration discount that takes place in modern trade will stop my business. Not necessarily right, because those are occasion based. Otherwise, just continue to believe that companies know that 80% of the business of this country in FMCG comes from GT. At the same time, the consumer, finally all this is possible because there is a consumer. The consumer has preferences. The consumer have choices today. So I need to address the consumer's requirement when the same consumer is there in e-com, when the same consumer is in modern trade, and the same consumer comes to a GT store. The consumer is the same, but their purchases, their shopper insights or behavior of a shopper is different when they are in different channels of stores. But there's no specific message, let's say, to a GT or an MT to GT, but coexistence is bound to be there. So believe in that.
Now, how does advanced technology like AI and predictive analysis fit into the future? How do you see that shaping up? The general trade, modern trade, and the quick com.
As far as predictive analysis, as I said even earlier, Radhika, very very clearly, data are available. Therefore, the machine is able to churn out lot more intelligent data, which is where you are. I keep saying BI. So business intelligence will be built. Your predictive analysis or predictive ways of working, especially in the trade. When somebody goes to the market to take those orders, today you will have a lot more advanced dashboards. You will have a lot more informed ways of pitching your sales. That's going to be there. If I am walking into a store, I know what to pitch. I know what to suggest. When I say what to pitch, my chances of winning is high. When I know what I want to pitch as my second next to my hero SKU or SKUs, what is that? Because the data is available, they are real time and they are analyzed well, because you are using the past history, the behavior, the shopper insight, everything you put together and then give. I'm sure already we are seeing it in our D2C or in the platform when you go in as purchases in a consumer. Those suggested orders or predictive orders are very much seen today. So it's a matter of time before we really export it to the GT part also.
So any other AI or predictive analysis functionality that you see will disrupt the market apart from suggestive selling?
When you say disrupt, one thing that has already clearly happened is that your packaging, your pricing, channel specific, you are able to do that. Predictive, as I said, is able to give you, because it is data of past, helps you to take decision for the future. The role of AI very specific to selling as a tool. I'm not able to comprehend much because at the end of it, it has to be executed by a human. So the data available to you in a most actionable form. How do you use the data at the back end to throw up to the front end is most important. So therefore, predictive, yes. How much of AI enabled in that is for the back-end team to look at it rather than the front-end team to worry about.
And in this context, right, what is the advice that you would give, the sales leaders in this changing dynamics?
I mean, I always say that, I said even a while ago that how over the last 50, 70 years, distribution has evolved. In all this, what you will see is at every step of evolution, from a calculator to a computer, from a manual calculation to a calculator to a computer and whatnot, technology has always been helping the evolution or advancement. So keep in pace with that, especially for the sales team, to think it from a 360-degree point of view. That technology is here to augment or support or make it better. So believe in that fact that technology helps you to be better off, and it can only be better off. So keep adapting to it. Maybe it is difficult because I am not very conversant, but today, thanks to whether any search engine, if you want to learn, you can learn it you can get an overview of it. You don't have to really know every nuances of it, but if you have to learn the basics of it or get an overview of it, so please keep your domain expertise is fantastic, fully appreciated, but domain expertise coupled with your ability to comprehend a 360-degree view from a salesperson as how it will help not me but in overall will only make it better.
All right, and then one leadership lesson that you would like to share with our listeners.
I mean, I can only tell what I went through. I always believed that, and I really mean it, I always believed that whatever I do, the larger beneficiary of it or must be the organization. The organization is existing, therefore all of us are here together to work for the common cause. That's what a CEO would tell, an MD would tell. No, yeah, look at the bigger picture. But that's actually a fact, because we have not been an MD, we have not been a CEO. Doesn't mean that you have to be a CEO to think like him or her. Having said that, what is in it for me is a fair question. There is always something when you are working for a larger cause, because when you are working for a larger purpose, which is your organization, your mindset will be more collaborative in nature. Your mindset will be to understand each other, which means you become a lot more empathetic. You don't have a view that it is my view has to prevail. My view is my view, someone else's view is his or her view. I respect. Does it really fit into the requirement of the organization? If the answer is yes, therefore look at it from a 360-degree lens. Will a finance person see my proposal through? Will my legal team approve it because there are no legalities involved in what I do? Similarly, from an HR lens, is it that I'm playing by the books, the governing book, or rules and regulations that are laid out so that my HR? So please look at it from a 360-degree lens as to how it will benefit the organization. Because it benefits the organization, I'm sure it is going to benefit me. I mean, I can give an example. For example, I take an objective, let's say of 20% increase in efficiency of working days. There are 1,000 people working in the market. Last year, your efficiency was 80%. I have to take an increase of 20%. Okay, 20% on this has to go to 96%. Is it possible? 100% is possible. But then I want to take it to 96%. Now, if I say that to do this, do I need more incentive for my people? This is a carrot. If people don't, then what is the penalty for that? There is a stick to it. Okay, fine. By doing it, will I get more incentive? By doing that much of target of increase by 20%, what is in it for me? Am I getting benefited out of it? Yes, because top line will be more. If the top line is more, very fact that the top line is more, or probably you have exceeded, your bottom line is likely to be more, which means you are more successful. So I would say take everything from a 360-degree lens as to how will it benefit the organization, and therefore it will benefit me as a function, as an individual, associate or an employee in the organization. It need not be all the time, it has to be only organization and only me. It usually not. And to me, that's the way I have been. So I never believed that decisions of organization is only to fit the organization, not to employee. I don't think so it ever happens. So therefore, please believe the larger cause or the larger purpose is the organization. Because organization is benefited, I'm sure everyone will get benefited. So believe in that and ensure that this is followed. Chances of succeeding as an individual in an organization is high when your mindset is tuned towards that, because you become collaborative, you become profitable, you become empathetic, and therefore you are likely to be, winning more and more.
And you also work as a team.
Work as a team. That's my message, Radhika.
All right, that was actually very well said, Vasu.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that brings us to the end of this episode of Behind the Boardroom. Thank you so much, Vasu, for taking the time to, come over to the Botree office for this podcast.
Always my pleasure, and wish you all the best in the new year. And I'm sure the viewers will also get benefited out of it.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Behind the Boardroom. To our audience, thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe in your favorite platforms. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the power of technology in shaping our future. See you soon.